really go, you know what, that relationship was full of lessons that I needed for my next story, or for my next journey. So keep that in mind. Keep with a different perspective. You can see his crown is highlighted. He's getting enlightened by looking at things differently. He really sees that, to really love who he is in this moment, he must embrace all the steps of his journey along the way, because that is what made him who he or she is today. That's who made you who you are today, is to really embrace and love your story and see that it is a story of success. Hello Libras, welcome to your weekly Zodiac reading. My name is Jessica and this is Divine Goddess Tarot. So let's get started and jump right in and see what energies are coming through for you this week. Let's see what the overall energy is that's coming through. And right there. So yin and yang. Beautiful. So a lot of Zen energy at this time, is I'm feeling, is what is deserved. And then this is for your higher self or your future self, of what messages are coming through. The ancient, elder, experience, and lessons. And this is could be also your future self giving you that boost of wisdom to get you through this week. The next one will be your guides, your goddesses, your angels, your devils, any energy that supports us or assists in our push for this journey. Right there. Sacred purpose, eternal flame, and ancestral legacy. Beautiful. I love those two together. So lots of Zen energy, lots of wisdom. You've got actually two owls right there. So very beautiful. If some of you have owl in your totem, or you didn't know that you do. So self-employment and healing from the past. So this is kind of tips and tricks, or also perhaps what you're moving into. So we'll see what tarot defines those messages and see what with more clarity of what those are meaning. So let's get tarot, and for the first one, and I have already cleared and cleansed the cards for each reading. So let's get to this one with that yin yang energy for Libras. Oh goodness, I'm taking them. Sun, Ace of Pentacles. Got Two of Pentacles. That is like you Libras in good form. Just, you're already organized. Your higher selves already know. Three of Wands, the Lovers, Seven of Pentacles, the Tower. Oh my gosh, this has been here in so many readings. Exactly that position. Five of Swords, and rightly so with Mercury going retrograde. So don't be afraid of the changes the universe is trying to make for you at this time. It is for you. Hangman. And then for this last row, healing from the past and self-employment. So we might be picking up on a couple of different energies here, clearly. So take what is yours and leave the rest. Five of Pentacles. Bottom. Nine of Swords. And the Hierophant in reverse. Okay. All right. So as far as this week, the energy really is to tap into your yin and yang, is what I'm hearing. This is a time for you to, and this could be a little bit of a reprieve from Mercury's shadow. Sometimes the shadowy aspect is a little bit more heavy, and so as we go into retrograde, it feels just a little bit lighter. Like that was almost the part where it started doing a lot of clearing for us, or just feeling that weight of it. So right now there's this little light and energy. There's this Ace of Pentacles of an offering of perhaps something new, something when it comes to our money. So I'm with self-employment here. We've got some things here that really show me that some of you are changing or thinking of changing aspects of where your money comes. It is perhaps the desire of self-employment. But I'm also hearing a lot of fears, and maybe that's the healing from the past of maybe endeavors that didn't work in the past. But you do also have the Lovers here. So if you are feeling that there's changes in your love aspect, then the message is the same. The verbiage will be different. So take what resonates and then put it up on the shelf. So if I can talk today. So with going with this, it is going to take some balance, and that's all about what yin and yang energy is balancing both of your feminine and your masculine aspect. But it's just, you become a lot more clear in life when you have those two aspects balanced. And with anything in life, balance is key, right? So if we're working too much and we're not doing enough self-nurturing aspect, we create tower moments for ourselves. We burn and crash because we can't go any more forward. When we are not, perhaps if we're working too hard and we're not connecting with our partner, or taking the time for those necessary nurturing aspects of our relationships, then they'll be strained and very stressed. So balance is key, is what I'm hearing for this week. Do the work, but at the same time, take the time for yourself. So this ancient energy, elder experience and lessons, your higher self really wants you to know that everything that you are working for is going into fruition, but you've got choices to be made. And I really feel that it is this balance aspect right now. Either working too hard, not playing enough, not spending enough time with family, something there's a little bit of some balance that's deserved. Because the Lovers, this is really important. Your relationships are important. Yes, money is important, but this supersedes anything. Now, if you are starting off on a new adventure as far as money, and this is yours, then the Lovers could be also a symbolism of just being completely going out there, being completely vulnerable is what I'm hearing with this. Like if you're wanting to start your own YouTube channel, or your own little mom and pop shop that is stationary, whatever it may be. I don't know why that came to mind, or a flower shop. It's like you're kind of putting it all out there. It's very vulnerable. And so the Lovers to me also is a symbolism of really just, you got to get real vulnerable. You got to risk it all type thing. Now, your answers, do it wise. This tarot is it should not be where you get your answers, but where you have light shine. Light gets to shine on some things in the world that assist you on your journey. So those are little nuggets of your truth, so you know what comes to you and what's yours. But what this is telling me is that you're going to be looking back on everything you are creating right now, and you're going to see how fruitful it is. You see, he's looking back. He hasn't plucked anything yet. He's building something. He's waiting for it to become ripe before he can pick it. And so your higher self is really wanting you to know that everything you start putting into motion at this time is really going to pay off for you. But you've got to do the work. You got to get vulnerable. You got to create balance. And in that, your guides are saying this is your sacred purpose. Your purpose is your eternal flame and ancestral legacy. And so I'm really hearing that not to be fearful for the things that are falling away, that aren't working. A lot of times, when someone loses a job or something, it's the worst thing that can happen. And then time goes by, and it kind of forces them to move in a direction that they normally wouldn't have done if they hadn't gotten fired. And so it comes to fruition, and now it was like the best thing that ever happened to them. And so don't forget that don't be afraid. Be with what is. Let go of what is leaving your realm. Try to really stay out of the shame. There's the Five of Pentacles is over here. Sometimes when we think things don't work out, we as a society hold a lot of shame in that, because that's what our parents and their parents, and anything that you don't set out to do and it doesn't work out is considered as failure. And I consider it successful failure, because as you know, and you speak to anyone successful in life, it takes failing, it takes a vulnerability, it takes risk to put yourself out there and do something different, and it is to be commended. And every failure you have is another step closer to success. So I love that. That goes right here into the Five of Swords. You got some fives here. That is really transition. You might be going through some transitions in life that really are switching you into gear into something else. And so what I'm hearing is that, you know, there's things or people or ways of being or even a job that's walking away. You're not fighting it anymore. You're going to move into it. But until that happens, it's really time to embody the Hangman card in this energy. This is a time where you really stop, and you're getting in you see he's in a different position. He's like, okay, I'm gonna hang upside down and look at this differently, which honestly, sometimes if we just do that in life, we can see such a beautiful perspective. I know I've always been sometimes told, oh, you see things in such a positive way. It's because that's been the journey. You know, I was raised in a very negative environment, and so you pick up on that. And when I decided to change my story and look at and say things differently, you create a different reality and there was different results. And so it really pays to look at things differently and really find that silver lining of the experience, and change your story into a victim story to a story of success. This was a successful failure because I learned, and that's what you learned from it. This is a part of my journey to take me to the next step. How empowering is that, rather than I lost my job, or she left, or he left. It's one of those things that when we really go, you know what, that relationship was full of lessons that I needed for my next story, or for my next journey. So keep that in mind. Keep with a different perspective. You can see his crown is highlighted. He's getting enlightened by looking at things differently. He really sees that, you know, to really love who he is in this moment, he must embrace all the steps of his journey along the way, because that is what made him who he or she is today. That's who made you who you are today, is to really embrace and love your story and see that it is a story of success. So I love this. And I'm sure all of us are. There's some of us, all of us, that are healing for something of our past. It is always a continuous thing to I mean, that's what Mercury in retrograde is all about. It's this illusion that this planet is now turning backwards. So we're going forward, and now all of a sudden it has the illusion that we're going to go backwards. And it kind of forces us to go, and everything that isn't quite completely healed, or hasn't been dealt with, we don't want to deal with, has kept us up, is now resurfacing at this time for us to change it, to heal it, to acknowledge it, so that it can run through us and really have that closure to it. And it may take time. Like healing, to me, as far as what I've experienced, is in layers. And when you think, phew, I complete, this is complete, this is done, and then all of a sudden something like a Mercury in retrograde or a new moon, all of a sudden, or someone says something that triggers a part of me that has shown me a part of myself that is still deserving of healing. And that's not wrong. It's absolutely there for me to heal another layer of it. And so just like here, you've got the Five of Pentacles, so you've got the Five of Swords. This is time for a pivot. This is time for, we can really get ourselves into trouble by really living in this energy, this victim mentality, because we're not. There's always assistance. There's always there's lights on here. The pentacles are in here, And so you've got self-employment. So this has a lot to do with that as well. It's interesting how self-employment does that. I know. It's one of those things that it really, you put yourself out there. There's a lot of risk. There's no one else to rely on but yourself. And it can keep you up all night. It can keep you in a state of worry. And so this is where you get your Hierophant in reverse, is that it kind of stops the flow of the energy when we get consumed by this. So we've got to, what I have learned in my process of healing and in self-employment is, and I've been self-employed for the last 7 years, and it's one of those things where it has really shown me parts of myself that I was, okay, well, what am I afraid of? I'm afraid I'm not going to make it. I'm afraid I'm going to fail, or I'm afraid that I can't do this. And so it really gets you down to the base stuff of what your basic needs are. And so when we can get past them and go, okay, well, I acknowledge it and I see it, but what is fear? It is false evidence appearing real. And so that false evidence appearing real is just our own egos and imagination getting in the way of something that it's just not there yet, in perhaps ever. It is false evidence. So it's time to really get grounded on your knowing, on your higher self and the lessons that are there. You've got all of your guides that are reassuring you, this is your eternal flame, this is your legacy, keep going. If self-employment is part of your desire, if it's part of your destiny, you feel it, you've been knowing that that's the way to go, this is your message that it's time for you to really go into that. If not, you have tower moments, because tower moments, they're not, I mean, we can initiate our tower moments, but usually they come at us when we're not moving, we're not actually taking charge of our life, and the universe goes, okay, well, she's not leaving her job, so we're gonna make her a part of the layoff program. And that's when that happens. And then all of a sudden he or she starts making her beautiful pottery or his beautiful pottery, and they really go off onto that self-employment destiny and purpose and legacy of really living their passion. And that's something that I do know, that without a shadow of a doubt, that I live my passion every day, and that is to be self-employed, and I love it very much. I love being able to have my ripple into the world here. And if that's your desire as well, is to have your own YouTube channel, if it's to put yourself out there and have your creation and empower, or whatever it is. Most people that are in tarot are healers in their own way as well. They're a beautiful ripple because they know that the universe, they're tuned in to the messages of the universe. And so we really are healers that move into the world. And a lot of us have the desire to be self-employed because we want to live our own purpose. So this is your message. You're doing some healing from the past, and I believe that this self-employment, or doing things maybe your way, in a different way, having more time with family, you know what your message is here. The point is that this is sacred. This is your purpose. Balance is key. This is the week's message, is to really tap into the balance. Get really clear on your wisdom of what you see for your future. Start writing it out. Start making a plan. So I love this. This is very a very beautiful reading, Libra. So I appreciate you so much. Thanks so much for joining me. And of course, if any, check out your rising, your moon, as well as your Venus signs right now, to make sure that you get the full scope and full picture of the messages that are for you. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.